And this came to me. I love creamy tomato basil soup, and I love it because it's beautiful, it's red and green. I love the flavors, I love the creaminess of it, but the problem is most of the time it's made with lots of butter, lots of dairy, so lots of heavy cream, and I eat it and then I just don't feel very good after I eat it. So I figured out this recipe that is amazing. It's vegan, so no dairy products, no cream, no anything like that. There's no hydrogenated oil in there, no soy products. All the things that usually make creamy tomato basil soup, you know, make me not feel good. Got rid of all that and I just made it from the ground up, and it turns out really, really amazing, and I think you guys are gonna love it. And for a festive Christmas dish, it's different enough that it's gonna make it's gonna please the palate. So it's beautiful. It's red and green, which is like festive colors. Also, it's something that you probably don't have all the time. I know that, you know, whenever I go to an Italian restaurant, like that's the yummy thing to get is the creamy tomato basil soup. So hopefully this will be a really great dinner entree for you and for like a holiday meal. And it's really easy. It hardly takes up any time at all. So what we're gonna do here is, let's see, move all this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the secret to this is roasting, okay? I've tried this without roasting the vegetables first, and it turns out okay, but once you roast it, it just gives it this like dreamy, roasty flavor. I don't know how to explain it besides that. So this is super simple. It's great like in the summer when your tomato plants are producing like crazy, but it's also great as a winter dish. It's nice and warm. And hearty and yummy, and if you pair this up with a salad, like with the yummy salad dressing, it's perfect. And in the recipe book for today, I've got a whole bunch of yummy salads and salad dressings that you could pair up with soup, like hearty festive soups to make a really great holiday meal. And it's really pretty, and the colors are vibrant. So all you do is you take your tomatoes, slice them, take your onion, slice it, and for me, I just like everything easy. I'm a grad student and a single mom, and I work, and I just don't have time to spend hours in the kitchen all the time. So everything I make is like really, really simple, just a couple of simple steps, and I let my food do the work for me. And so instead of me doing all the work, I try to find recipes that kind of cook themselves. Then I don't have to do all the work. So like a half of an onion, a bunch of tomatoes. I'm just showing you how to do this so you can see, so you can see the roasting process and see how easy it is. You take your garlic and you just like squeeze all the extra skin off the edge. Like so, and then just leave it in its little, just leave it like that. Plop it in there. It's really easy. And then you just take a little bit of oil. I'm going to use coconut oil today. Now remember, a lot of people cook with olive oil, and I know that the health food channels and stuff, they say to put olive oil on everything, but olive oil is very, very heat sensitive. It oxidizes really easy when it gets heated up. So you want to use olive oil for things like salad dressings and things that you don't heat up. You don't want to cook with it. So if you're cooking, you need to use a heat stable oil that's not going to oxidize when you put heat on it. And so that's going to be your coconut oil, organic butter, or grapeseed oil that's been refined so that it can handle high temperatures. Otherwise, oxidized oil is actually a carcinogen, so it's really bad for your health. So just make sure if you're cooking, use a heat tolerant oil. So that's all you do. You put the garlic, the onion, the tomato in there, drizzle a tiny bit of oil over the top, and then you're just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt over the top of that, like so. Give it a little toss to make sure everything's got oil on it. And then you stick it in the oven, 425, for, I don't know, like half hour, 45 minutes, just until it starts getting kind of browned on the top. And that's it. And then the rest is just a blender. Do you have a, Perry, do you know where the hot pad is? Oh, there it is, thank you. Okay, let's see here if I can. Okay, do you guys smell that? It smells so good. I have some pre-roasted tomatoes and pre-roasted onion and garlic. Should be tasty. And I need the little topper thing. I don't know where it went. Oh, thank you. There it is, right in front of my face. Okay, so all you're gonna do once you roast your vegetables, just throw them in there. See how they're just kind of like browned on top a little bit, roasted. I'm gonna throw all that in the blender, and if you have a Vitamix, it can, obviously because it boils stuff in the thing, it can handle high temperatures, and the roasty flavor just makes it really dreamy.
Is it about 15 or 20 minutes?
You know what? Depending on which oven I use, it can take anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. So you just have to kind of keep your eye on it and make sure it doesn't burn. So you just kind of keep your eye on it until it gets brown on top. Now this is the secret. This is what makes it taste good. Like non-roasted tomatoes taste good, but roasted tomatoes are dreamy. Let's see if I can do this. Of course I can.
And you didn't drizzle anything on top of it? No.
Just a little bit of oil.
Just a little bit of coconut oil, right?
And then a little sprinkle of salt. Yep. And then I'm going to take the roasted garlic and the roasted onion. Throw that in there as well. Now if you want to roast them ahead of time and refrigerate them, you can always just blend it up and then heat it up on the stove later. But since they're nice and hot, then I don't have to heat it on the stove later. Then I've got some, instead of cream, like what do you use instead of the 1 cup of heavy cream that you usually use in? So these are soaked cashews. For the people that haven't been here before, make sure when you're using your nuts that A, they're raw, you got to get raw nuts, and B, make sure you soak them and rinse them before you use them. That gets rid of all the phytic acid off of them and all the enzyme inhibitors that sometimes give people an upset stomach with nuts. So put in some raw pre-soaked cashews, and also when you soak cashews it makes them so they're extra creamy instead of powdery. And we're gonna just put in a little tiny pinch of salt. We'll taste it later to see how it tastes, and some fresh ground pepper.
Wait, did you separate, when you put those in, did you separate the onions and the garlic?
I just threw it all in there.
Oh,
when you do the
okay.
garlic though, if you put it on the bottom and like kind of drizzle the oil so it gets caught into the little cloves of garlic. So like sit the garlic straight up and pour the oil into the cloves, but the rest of it you can just throw in there and roast it all
So
together.
why did you separate these?
Because I roasted them last night.
Oh, okay.
And I just wanted to show you the different components of what I'm throwing in
Okay.
there instead of just
So
having a
that you
big
combine
bowl
everything
of,
and
yeah.
drizzle- Okay.
Yeah, so if I was just making it home, I just throw it all in the same bowl and do it that way. But I wanted you to see the different components of what I was putting in here. So I separated it out for you. Because I'm nice like that. Alright, yes?
Would coconut cream possibly go in there if you have nut allergies? Have you tried that?
Are you allergic to coconut?
No.
Usually if people are allergic to coconut, oh, coconut cream instead of the cashews.
Cashews, I'm sorry.
I've never tried it.
Okay.
It's worth a shot. Something that I did try though, I was making a cream of mushroom soup. I had like, Costco had these chanterelle mushrooms and like all these crazy mushrooms, and I wanted to try like a cream of mushroom soup out of those. And, but I didn't want to use cream, and I was out of cashews, so I was looking online for another alternative, and they said to put a half a cup of oatmeal in there. And so I did, and it made the best cream of mushroom soup ever. So I haven't tried it in tomato soup, but it worked really well in mushroom soup. And
Was it half a cup of oatmeal
for just like a blender full of,
okay.
yeah, and it was just cooked. And actually, I'm trying to remember how I did it. So when I was sauteing the mushrooms and everything, and then I added in the stock to it, you just put in the oatmeal when you put in the stock, and let the dry oatmeal cook while the stock is cooking.
Dry oatmeal?
It was dry, and then you throw it in with the chicken or the vegetable stock or whatever you're using for your liquid, and then just let it cook for 10 or whatever minutes, and then you put it in the blender. You know, you take out half of the mushrooms and half in the liquid, and you blend it, and made a really fabulous cream of mushroom soup. So maybe try that for tomato soup as well. I haven't tried it, but
just remember, also beans work really good for creaming things
white
up
beans.
as well.
Yep.
White beans.
Makes really great. And on that topic, if you want to, there's two ways you can do the white beans. If you have a wheat grinder or a grain mill, you throw the dry white beans into the grain mill and it makes a powder, and then you just boil water and put the powder in and just kind of stir it till it's like the consistency of, like, not quite as thick as peanut butter, like a little runnier than peanut butter, and you boil that for 5 or 10 minutes and with a little bit of salt in it, and you can use that as a cream substitute. Or you can get if you want to do it faster than that, you can just get the white, I think they're northern beans, the great northern white beans, and you just get them in a can, rinse them really well, and then mash them up, and you can use that. The one caution with that is you have to use it with kind of stronger flavored things because you can really taste the bean flavors. So it works really well. Like it might work with this because the garlic and the onions are so strong you wouldn't be able to taste the beans. But just start with a little bit of beans at a time and kind of work your way up. Don't just throw a ton of beans in there because then it'll end up tasting like beans. So thank you. Don't have Vitamixes, when you hear that sound, it just means there's like a bubble of air at the bottom. So you just go like that. Gets the bubble out and then it'll blend. Now, normally, because I cooked all these vegetables last night and then I reheated them, a lot of the water evaporated off. So normally you don't have to add water, but just because I cooked them twice, we're gonna add a little bit of extra water just to make it the right consistency. Normally though, the juice in the bottom of the roasting pan would be plenty. But again, we're doing intuitive eating, so whatever works for you. Now the Vitamix, it'll puree anything, so this is going to be super smooth. If you have a different kind of blender that's not a high-speed blender, you can still do this, you just have to do it for a lot longer. So instead of it taking 2 minutes, it'll take probably 10 or so minutes. Okay, so we just need a little more salt in there. else do we need in here? Probably just the salt will do it. One more time, sorry about the noise. And again, depending on your tomatoes and your onions and whatever components you put in there, I'm going to give you the basic recipe, but you're going to just have to adjust it according to your taste with the extra salt and pepper. That's good. Okay, so see how creamy that goes? And that's with the, just with the cashews. Now, I'm going to take some basil and put basil in. Now, you don't want to put basil in at the very beginning because it will turn the soup green. So you just want to, I'm going to show you how to, it's called chiffonade. Show you how to do this real quick. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so here's a cool way to cut basil, and this is for like mint leaves or any kind of leafy thing that you want to make look pretty. With basil, make sure that you wash it and chop it like right before you use it because basil turns brown really fast. And with basil and any other kind of leafy greens, try to get organic. If there's any way you can get organic, that's going to be the best. Your leafy greens, like your lettuces and your herbs and that kind of stuff, those have a really high pesticide residue if you don't get them organic because it's just, it's the leaf and there's no protection. So you go like that, you stack them, and you roll them like a little tortilla, like so. And then you just slice them really thin. And then you've just got like cool basil confetti like that. Okay. So we're going to save that for a garnish, and I'm just going to put some basil in here and just blend it real quick. You don't want to blend it enough so it turns your soup green. You just want to blend it long enough so it mixes it in a bit. Again, can you see how easy this is? This is like a really quick meal. I mean, if I just would be quiet and stop talking so much, it'd be really, really fast. So keep that in mind. This is a super quick meal, and it's a meal that kind of does the cooking for itself. You just stick it in the oven and let it bake, and then throw it in the blender, and you're done. And a lot of eating healthy is about advanced preparation. So like if you don't think about this a day ahead, then or several hours ahead, you're not going to have time to soak the cashews. You're not going to have time to throw things in to roast. One of the things I teach on my health and wellness plan is just planning ahead, like making a menu ahead of time, making it the week before, and then that really helps you to like see what you need to do in advance. It helps you to shop more. Helps you to shop inexpensively. It helps you to plan. It helps you to not go straight to the junk food because you're starving with nothing to eat. And just something as easy as making a weekly menu and knowing what you're going to eat every day and when you have to prepare. Like for instance, hands-on time for this is, like 10 or 15 minutes, and the rest is just kind of waiting for it to cook. So you can plan 10 or 15 minutes into your day to cook something healthy, but if you don't think about it, and then you have to go to the store, and then you don't have time to soak your cashews, and then you don't have an hour to wait for it to roast, then it turns into a big ordeal where you've got to go get a pizza or something. So if you just plan ahead, that's a big component of eating healthy, is just planning ahead and kind of scheduling your time, because most of the recipes, they'll kind of make themselves if you just schedule enough time. Alright, don't want the soup to turn too green. Here we go. So, that was pretty easy, right? Okay, I'll let you guys taste that. And again, you're going to flavor this according to your taste. So salt, maybe a little, if you like something spicy, you can put a little cayenne pepper or red pepper flakes in there. If you like it a little sweeter, you can put a dash of honey in there. More pepper, and this is what it's gonna look like. Now I'm gonna, let's see, what time is it? Oh, I'm gonna show you how to, oh, I just came up with this last night. This was genius, and it's really fast. So the other thing that makes tomato basil soup really good, it's like the Parmesan cheese. You get to like dump on top, right? How are you supposed to do that without dairy? Well, I'm gonna show you. You will love me for this. All it takes is cashews. Now these are just dry cashews. If you want dry nuts for any recipe, you soak them and then you can put them either in just a warm oven or in a food dehydrator if you have it, and dry them back out again, and then you can store them and then have your dry nuts that have had all the enzyme inhibitors or phytic acid dissolved off of it. So we've got like, I don't know, cup and a half of that. I've got a little bit of nutritional yeast, which imparts a lovely cheesy flavor to things. Just gonna put a little sprinkle of that, and again, in the recipe book I have exact measurements for those of you that like exact measurements. We're gonna put like a couple pinches of salt in, and just one little clove of garlic. Then gonna make some more noise. Hang on a second. Powdered Parmesan cheese, obviously, not the grated, but alright, give this baby a taste. Now some of you will like the cheesy, like more cheesy flavor, so you can add more so you can add more salt or more nutritional yeast, whatever you want to use, and this makes a really, really pretty Parmesan cheese. Isn't that great? Love me for that one. Okay. So then, of course, whenever you're doing any kind of festive meal, it's all about presentation, right? So, let's see if I can do this without splashing. There we go. Oops. Now we can make this, when I serve this to you guys, we'll make it a little bit, like add a little bit of water. Make it less thick, but you can make it whatever thickness you like. A little bit of Parmesan cheese. Who needs an Italian restaurant when you got this? And a little bit of basil on top. And you can even put like a little bit of chopped tomatoes on top if you want to make it extra pretty. Huh?
Where do you get your nutritional yeast?
Hold your applause 1 second. Just in the bulk section of the nutrition store, like the health food store. You can buy it prepackaged or in the bulk section. Okay, there you go. You can applaud now.